It's obviously welcome news that inflation has fallen, and it shows that if the government and the Bank of England are prepared to take difficult decisions, we can win the battle against inflation. But nonetheless, for families up and down the country, prices are still rising much too fast. There's a long way to go. If we look at inflation at 3% in the US, 5.5% in the Eurozone, you can see that if we stick to the plan, we can bring down inflation. And that's what this government is utterly determined to do.
Difficult decisions from the government and the Bank of England, as you said. Do you think, in light of these positive figures, that the bank should consider slowing down its pace of interest rate rises now?
Well, what we've seen is the bank has taken very difficult decisions, and the government has taken very difficult decisions in the autumn statement to make sure that we really do start to bring down inflation. And we're seeing the first fruits of that, but there's a long way to go, and we need to remember that families are still feeling a lot of pressure with very high food price inflation. Although fuel prices have come down, they're still significantly higher than they were a few years ago. And so we need to stick to the plan to halve inflation, to bring it back even beyond that to the Bank of England's target rate of 2%. But we can see from other countries, if we do that, we will succeed, and we can put this very difficult period for households behind us.
Food price inflation has come down, but prices are still rising at their fastest pace in decades. You've been meeting supermarket bosses over the past few weeks. What have you been saying to them? And do you believe they're behaving fairly? And are further price rises in the supermarkets justified?
Well, we can see that the prices charged by producers are coming down, what are called factory gate prices, and we want to make sure that supermarkets and other retailers are passing those on to families as quickly as possible, because people are feeling a lot of pressure. And if you combine that with what the Bank of England are doing with monetary policy, what the government is doing in terms of being responsible with public finances, you can see that we will be successful in bringing down inflation. That's starting to happen. There's still a long way to go, and we're going to stick to the course.
And just one final question, if I may, on the imminent Tata announcement, £4 billion worth of investment. How much has the taxpayer had to front up in the form of subsidies and other incentives to lure them here?
Well, we're having discussions with lots of companies, and we're in competition with countries all over the world for these big investments. So obviously those discussions are commercially sensitive. But what you can see from today's decision is that the industries that are going to grow the fastest this century, and of course electric vehicles are one of those sectors, are the sectors that we are fundamentally very strong in. And people want to invest in the UK because we have a very skilled workforce, we have brilliant universities, and we have some of the most productive car plants in Europe.